There we go. What's up, everybody? My name's Chris Mayer, and you're tuned in to The Bit Show, aka the Boston Indies talk show and happy hour, of course, presented by Boston Indies, Boston's home for independent games. You can follow us on Twitter at Boston Indies. Follow us on Meetup, meetup.com/Boston Game Dev. I just dumped some links in the chat. We got a great show for you tonight. Michael Berthaud is here. We're going to be talking about what he's up to, and of course, catching up on what the community's been doing through our favorite segment, Bit Showboating. Sorry, favoritely named segment. Our favorite segment is, of course, the main one. Is that it? That's it. I only actually have one announcement this week. Pioneer Valley game developers are doing a coffee hour event on the 25th, which I'll post a link to in the chat. So that's going to be, I think, a casual, I think it's like a 1 hour kind of hangout. Talk about what you're working on, catch up with people, that sort of thing. Link in the chat. Check it out. Yep, that's it. Let's go. Oh, audio's muted.
Let's go!
All right. Go for it.
Oh, we're live. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great here. What's up with you, Ichiro?
I don't know. This is I feel like we did pre-show, and so Michael's now stepped back into the green room, and he is eating all of the green M&Ms because I think it was unclear that he was welcome to eat all of the M&Ms. So, Michael, if you're out there somewhere, I apologize. I see Ziba, you're up in this part of Michigan.
Yeah, if Michigan ever splits its hands like that on the map, we're in some real trouble. Wisconsin and Chicago, they're screwed. No, I'm up here roughly near Manistee. Yeah, I hopped in a car on Tuesday night and just drove all night, 14 hours, and here I am in Michigan. Here's a true story. I get this rental car, I get in, I plug in my phone, and I'm trying to figure out. And now there's a moment I'm trying to figure out, like, it's supposed to do whatever the latest of car sync stuff is, and nothing's happening. And suddenly it starts playing the Bit Show theme song. I didn't even realize I have this on my phone, but whatever mode it just decided. All right.
Well, do you know what it's like? It's like we have a deal with Apple. Like you used to have the U2 song, whether you wanted it or not. Now millions of people have the Bit Show theme.
Specifically a Nissan Altima. Any Nissan Altima that you rent, I guarantee you, when you turn it on, it's going to start playing.
It's not much, but it is a thing. So like Ziba actually is in Michigan, and Elliot said two things to me. One, he called me an ice hole, and second of all, he said I was in Tron. I'm working on a new lighting setup for our upcoming game, and I thought I'd have fun, and yeah.
It was also on loop. I realized that after my laughter died down that I also desperately needed to figure out how to stop it. So
I hate that. All right.
Those are my adventures.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your adventures. How did Video Space Games
Let's go!
have -1 point?
Where are we seeing the score?
In the chat, you can type exclamation point leaderboard and it'll show the scores.
Yeah. It shows, so
I don't know what happened there.
That's awesome. Is that John? John, is that you? Are you Video Space Games? And if so, what are the other games aside from Alpha 1? Because there's that's the only game I know. Okay. So thank you, Trevor, the Tamer, Herbivore, Arc Drone, Chris Chung, Rinsky the Hero. Oh, sorry, it's Dan. I can't keep people's usernames in, so it's Dan. Whatever. Dan, you can be John today. Let's move on.
All right, we had a big active week with the Bit Showboating. People have been doing great stuff in devlog, as always. Not that I ever doubted it, but once again, we have so much to share. Let's share it.
Well, you go first.
Go first. Oh, Michael Carrier is sharing his shader graph work for the upcoming Cypher Zero work. Cypher Zero being a collaboration between ZapDot, run by Michael Carrier, and Ben Wu, one of our earlier guests. With this cool puzzle game that they're going to polish up and put out. And Michael's got both a passion for UI or a stomach for working on it that I don't have. I get bored and wander away. Michael actually cares about it. And now he's combining it with his technical know-how in getting in there and making shiny, wavy things. So check that out. And it's also, here we are at the dawn of We Now Share. I thought that, because what I'm trying to say is, once again, I'm angry at Unreal. In Unreal, you have all these blueprints and you're sharing code and it's these screenshots. But now what Michael is sharing here are screenshots of shader graph stuff in Unity. So there's no getting around our future of sharing code snippets with each other being screenshots, which is weird and inefficient.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of modular programming, except for shaders, or procedurally generated landscapes and so forth, textures, that sort of stuff.
But
I
it
don't
looks cool. It's just kind of weird and
you're a Linux guy, so you like to type in characters in like what is it, hacker type? Anyway, moving on to John's. Apparently, he has. I don't want to give John too much guff. I'm going to give him guff. This is not a space game, which is incidentally Dan, but like this is not Alpha 1. He said to himself, hey, is it time to take a break and to do stuff on the side, which I always think it's great to do a new project. That's how all my projects start. And you can answer no, Trevor, there's no guff for JB Sheds. I'm just giving everybody a hard time. I think there is something to be said for like a palate cleanser thing, which was what Elegy for a Dead World was, and arguably that is the progenitor of kind words in some way, and therefore like that did well for you. So you never know. You could come up with something just doing a side project. That's all.
Meanwhile, we got Mark Aldrich, who's very excited, and rightfully so, that his AI is alive. The character's bouncing around. In no way to minimize this, I've been at a few points in a project where I get to a similar output, right? You have characters and their tasks above their head, and there is this joy of like when your system literally becomes this repetitive word. It becomes this. It becomes alive. It becomes this example of life. Representation. That's the word I was going for.
Oh, I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. I was wondering. I was there for you in spirit.
It's a joy to see your little characters come alive and you're breathing life into them. And then you can just imagine all the things you're going to make them do, and you are now God. So that's basically where Mark's at.
All right. Who here is familiar with the Unexpected Jam? It was, I actually don't know much about it. Was it itch-based? Anyway, so the link that I am sending here is you can play right now while Ziba and I are talking at you, Lauren's The Family. So I'm just going to read what's on the slide. My team and I just released The Family, a short point-and-click mobster adventure, part of the 2-week Unexpected Jam. Nobody here should share what's unexpected about Lauren's game. Least of all, Lauren. If I don't know if you're here. But don't spoil it. But you can play it online immediately right now in your browser.
All right. Next up, Rohit, Ro Krasta, sharing a teaser for 9. I kind of dug the music to this one as it was going. I thought it was nice. And you get your cat bouncing around. He's calling it in here. He's calling it crude placeholder art. But I was getting a Commander Keen vibe. I was thinking like maybe this is Commander Keen's cat.
Well, did you see the documentary High Score?
Not enough of it to get to Commander Keen, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's the last episode.
I thought that was one with Roberta Williams.
Oh, that was good, and Lord British, yeah, and Rohit Krasta. So it's like
so you're telling me that the Commander Keen's cat, as made by Rohit Krasta, is in the documentary?
That is exactly what I'm telling you. Yeah.
All right. Well, then everybody pay attention to that one. It seems important.
Excellent. Next up is Matt, whom we had on show number 104. Was it? I don't know. It was sometime in the past, and the past is prologue. So
we have not yet done 104 episodes. I believe it was 10.
No. This is. I don't know if you all can hear Chris. That's the way that you number episodes is 101 is the first episode, 102 is the second episode, 103 is the third episode, 105 is the fourth episode. Oddly enough, it's like the first floor in any European building is also the first floor. The second floor is the first floor. The quest is the quest is my point. So anyway, moving on to Matt's stuff, he's juicing up his game. I think that's important. And in fact, if you haven't seen what is it? Martin Jonassen's Grapefruits juicing your game. squashing things, stretching things, as you're hopefully seeing on your screen now, is a really great way to add a little bit of oomph and character to your game. With I don't want to diminish Matt's work, but like not a huge amount of work. There, I've diminished his work unintentionally.
Nice. Brian, I don't know how to say your last name. Moet, correct me if you're there. Showing off an awesome neon bridge. And it sounds like, I don't want to misconstrue it, they're asking for some artistic feedback. Besides saying it looks really cool, looks like they're looking for some opinions on stuff with that. In general, it looks great, but if anybody in the community's got some stuff to say to Brian about it to help him push even further, or tell him to stop his search, he's found his magic right there. Go for it.
Next up is Evan, a gent from the Boston area, former, MIT alum. He is working on, I think he described it to me as like Smash TV. I don't know if it's evolved since then, but like, Evan, you had me at Smash TV, and he's working on Timeline. And this is just a very simple example of that animation.
Hi, my name is Tyler.
I don't know if that came through. I was testing the video here for the next one. Tyler has posted a devlog, which was the first one for the new game they're working on. And I watched a bit of it. It's cool. It's got some nice production values. It goes into like why I'm doing stuff. I really appreciate when people have the emotional and mental energy to share their thoughts so concretely in the creative process, because it's inspiring and to people of all levels, and just comforting to especially now to see other people on trying to do the same journeys you're doing. So thanks, Tyler, for sharing that.
Is Dan giving us guff here? There are already a bunch of crab fighting games. I know of one. I think there should be more of them. Okay, on to the next stuff, which I guess conveniently lines up my stuff. I have this great vision of creating a media empire where I do not have to rely on the press or streamers or Steam or Epic or Xbox Live, whatever, for eyeballs. And so what I'm trying to do is actually create a bot-run show that is as good as not as good as a bit show, although that's debatable. A bot-run show to highlight all of the games that come out in a particular category every day. So, like, imagine if you could hit a button and you get a show about all of the hidden gem roguelikes.
Starting at number 5.
And this is sort of based on my work over at Valve some time ago in the auto show. I asked them, "Hey, do you mind if I take that in my own direction?" And Valve, being Valve, was like, "Yeah, go do whatever you want." So my idea is something that basically scours the internet, or the Steam store, using Lars Doucet's game data crunch, figures out what interesting stuff is out there, and then uses the magic of machine learning and Amazon Poly for voices and so forth, and essentially just creates a show with banter and different characters talking to each other about various games. So I want to replace myself in Ziba.
Whoa, so it's like Proc Gen, going from Proc Gen Games to Proc Gen Games Media.
I want to democratize all of indie game coverage.
Democratize or dominate? There's a very difference between having your own empire and democratizing.
You ever read the Discworld series?
Some of them.
Lord Vetinari is a benevolent dictator. He was better for the populace than anybody else. I say better at Ichiro than Valve.
So once you've made everybody king, the only person who have any money is a person who sells crowns, which is you. With your,
I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm just, hey, I like to help people, and I also like to topple other people's empires. That's my thing.
Nice. Yeah. All right, last slide. This one is Luigi and I did put out an update to Kind Words to celebrate our first year anniversary on Steam. It was a good year, and thanks everybody for helping us with that. And a couple of big things we added, room stickers. We added a screensaver, which is on the GIF here. And actually, I've been streaming the screensaver for like 4 days straight. I've decided to just set up a Twitch stream that is just infinitely the game playing, which confuses people. They'll come and be like, "Hi, the dev's streaming," and I won't be there because I'm just leaving it going. but I've gone from 1 follower to 31 just by leaving it on. So I feel like I'm on a bit of the same journey of trying to do this proc gen empire here, where I do the media and the press, the outside of game stuff, just through automation, by just leaving something going and not actually investing my every minute in it.
You know who's going to beat both of us is Tom and Kelly with their turtle, because that, like, you just have to feed it lettuce, and you don't even need a computer for that.
I've got a turtle. I could green screen my turtle in front of this screensaver.
Did you leave your turtle in Boston?
We got a turtle sitter. I got people checking in on the turtle.
Okay, I don't know.
Also, just in case anybody puts together that I've left my house and wants to go burglar it, no, there are people coming to check in on my turtle, and they will find you.
No, you can steal a turtle. Trevor's asking if you're didn't you procedurally generate 1,000 slots games for Android?
More than that, but yes.
Okay.
So we've all committed great crimes.
Wait, what is this all BS?
I am
in
a sense
genuinely trying to help the indie community, as I often and always do. And if taking over the world with AI is the way that we do that, that's fine.
Sure, it's true. You mean well, but you're going to destroy us all. Let's move on to someone who is truly exciting and young enough to still be morally pure and not have flooded the app store with slot machines or written a robot that will take all our jobs. How's my segue going?
It's great. I like it. It's true. It's all true.
Okay, so today's guest, this is the intro segment. Today's guest is not sitting around waiting for someone to give him permission to make games. He's a college student grabbing life by the DualShock and bursting out of the gate with appetite and elbow grease. He's gone from game jams in high school to shipping a 5-star mobile game with 40,000 reviews while barely breaking out of his teens. Please welcome Michael Berthaud.
Hello.
Hey. So nice to have you here.
It's nice to have you guys too.
So you are local. You've been local. You were local in high school, and you're local now.
Yep.
Interview done. You've solved it.
That's it. It's over.
We now know as much.
It's over. That's all we need, right?
I do want to just give people the context about the big project you did recently. You were also talking about it at Boston Unity Group. You talked a lot about the sort of the marketing details side, but in general, I'm just kind of curious about this big thing that was a big part of your lecture. Like, what is Ace Play?
So Ace Play is a mobile game that we made, that JumpButton Studio made for the Ace family. It's a YouTube influencer. I was the lead programmer and designer on that project. It was a team of, I honestly don't remember. I think it might have been like 10 of us, maybe 10. 10 sounds about right. 10 sounds small enough. 10 sounds small enough that we missed deadlines. So that sounds good. So, yeah, I think it was about 10 of us. And yeah, it was a good time, but bad time. But yeah, overall, we,
Well, wait a second. Why do you say bad time? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you said
anybody
it.
out. Like, were there some lessons to be learned in that?
Oh, not bad time. Like overall, I say that personally. Like, I think bad time just because, like you mentioned, like just being in school. Like, I think that phase of my life really showed me like what it really means to time manage. Because I think any game before then, it's so easy for you to develop a game on your free time and just say, I have work to do today, so I'm not going to work on it. But now when you have, I think that was the first time when I really had, an entity behind me that was like, we have to get this done right now. And like, I never had that before. So it was just like realizing and still trying to just, live my usual young procrastination filled life. Like you just realize like, wait, this is not going to work. Like something is going to have to change. And
I'm hearing you're getting your schooling done and you're going and doing a professional game, which if you haven't played it, I mean, this looks really good, and you did it. And I'm hearing procrastination. I don't believe the last part.
Oh yeah, there's big procrastination. You don't believe it, but I was not sleeping at all. Which I'm not. I don't say that with any kind of pride. I don't like that. Is not a good thing. Like that like saying of like people boast about like, I've been up for 16, 20 hours and I don't sleep. Like I just like don't think that's a boast. Like I know there is a way to do things and get sleep at the same time. I just don't know how to do it. But Yeah, that's the only reason why I say it's a bad time. Just for me, because when I think about that, I don't think about like anything else besides like how poorly I was managing my own life. I was definitely getting the work done, but I wasn't treating my body right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's super impressive that you're working on it with a team that big and in central roles to it that early. It's awesome. Do you want to? Is that what you want to keep doing right away, or do you want to take it easier for a while before you step into that central role again, or what? How are you learning from that lesson?
I definitely don't mind being in that role again because, like, like we're the sum of all our experiences. So I wouldn't mind to do that again because I would be able, I would know the dark side of it, and I would know how to not put myself in those situations again. It'd be like a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, definitely shame on me. So I wouldn't mind doing it again, but I probably wouldn't do it at least this semester that I'm in now, just because I would prefer to just go to school and just go to school. I never thought I would say that, but I'd rather just go to school.
So, and you are right now. So, you are studying computer science at Wentworth, yeah?
Yeah.
And so, but you program, and you're saying you were designing a last game. You like to do both. We talked about you like to do a lot of business stuff. Did you make a particular choice to study code right now?
Well, to be honest, I feel like it was a little bit of a mistake to be a programming major, because a lot of the programming that I learned in school, or that is taught in school, at least at my level, I think is like I would need to do like much, much, much more for it to be applicable to do the things that I did in games. I think much of the things that I learned and the way that I pushed myself outside of school, even before I was in college, was like years beyond like what I would have learned in school, to that magnitude and to that like detail. So I really sometimes wish I just like majored in something else, because no matter what happened, whether I went to school or not, I would have been programming regardless. So I wish I just like didn't do it, so I could like do something else to balance myself more.
I don't know. I want so this is me giving an opinion. Like I did the other path and I did not get a degree in CS. And I think as a result, I missed out on some of the rigor being self-taught. Like I'm still kind of like sloppy. Only now am I learning things that you're probably maybe not learning in school. I mean, would you, are you learning any of that?
Well, I guess it depends, right? Because like there's like a bunch of ways to go about learning programming. Like you can just go the brute force, like, okay, I'm just gonna learn what I need to learn and get it done. And you don't really understand like, the nitty gritty and rigor, like your time complexity, why your code is running slow, without looking at like a profiler in Unity to actually look at something and say, this is going to run slow, definitely. Like it's those kind of things that you may not learn if you just kind of brute force your way and just learn programming to make games. But I think me personally, I was always a little bit like more meticulous in that. So I did like go on my own and learn algorithms, stuff like that. Because at that time when I learned programming, I just wanted like full control over my expression. So I just kind of thought that if I don't learn how to like program really, really good, I'm never going to be able to like make the games I want really good. And so that's why I really like had like a bunch of textbooks and stuff like that.
Oh,
so by the time I got to school, like the algorithms classes and stuff like that, like I already like known a good chunk of that stuff.
All right, I'm on your side now. I believe it.
I do appreciate my formal computer science training because it's allowed me to pivot more. And I wouldn't say that. I would say I think you're really right that if you know what you want to code and program, you can just go for that, learn it yourself, learn it through other ways, and that's important. For me, I think I got a lot of value in that over my the decades of my being a professional. Have those decades started yet? I'm on my second, but I'm old enough to have been doing jobs for 20 years that use this degree. Anyways, the point being, I'm glad I got the computer science degree, and I can totally understand why other people just absolutely wouldn't need one to do a lot of the same stuff. But something I care about, so I was happy I got it. I brought it up because I mean, in Michael and talking to you and looking at the stuff you do seem to have this broad spectrum interest in games and humanity. And you had this interesting quote on the Bug Meetup page where you said that you wanted to make games that would encourage people to think critically about the world around them and how their voice and emotions can make a large impact. I thought that was a nice quote, a nice sort of a nice little love letter to the a belief in games. Is that something? It sounds also big, daunting, and dreamy. Do you have any ideas about how you want to push games to do more of that?
Yeah, that's actually a super good, big question. Well, I think as I've gotten older and as I've learned more about what it takes to make games and really what it means to make games for another human being, as in like engineering and experience for another human being, I think when I wrote that, I think, because I wrote that quite a bit ago, like when I actually came up with that quote. I feel like at that time, what really motivated me to make games and what made that quote in me is I played Xenogears, which is one of Squaresoft's JRPGs. It came out around the same time Final Fantasy VII did. And the story, aside from it being a mildly innovative JRPG, the story really captivated me in that it was a storyline. It's a super convoluted story, but it was really about like, mental health and really the battle with self, right? And becoming the union with the self. And I really enjoyed that. And I never had and I read a lot of books, and there was no book, no movie that I'd ever seen that had captivated me like that. And then you could argue then well, you can just make movies too. But there was something about actually controlling the person and having some autonomy over like whether the story gets to progress that I was like, oh man, this is something that I need to do. And then I realized through time that I think it's really about making the mechanic the message. We think of like things like Among Us and how like, making a certain rule set can really like change how someone is like behaving and like put someone in a different mindset. I think that's the real important thing. So I like kind of like changed my thing. I used to just think I want to write, but I really I think games are more than just cinema. And I think that at that time I was writing that's where my head was at. I was thinking so much more about cinema. I think that's because I wasn't a good designer back then.
That's really cool. And also you did tell me that you were writing screenplays. Is that something past tense, or that you still also have that passion and interest in?
Oh, I write screenplays. I think when I'm not programming, I'm like writing screenplays or like drafting story ideas and stuff.
Do go on. What can you pitch? Can you give me, as if you were pitching me a game? I don't know. I don't exist in the screenplay world. Can you pitch me your screenplay? I'm a famous.
Yeah.
We're in an elevator.
Okay. So cool. So the most recent screenplay that I wrote was called Domino Effect, and the pitch they call it Logline. The pitch is a young. Damn, did I forget my pitch? Damn, you caught me, man.
4-3 going up.
You're only studying and launching games and then also writing screenplay. I think it's excusable to forget your log line.
Let's see something.
I'm so disappointed.
I'm sorry.
So while Michael is looking for this, I just want to point out who is it? Somebody recognized you from your work, Ziba, and from your slot machine work. But presumably also from kind words. And then
I got 2 emails today. A while ago, years ago, I set up a address you could email to get free slot machines at. And I said it was only during this 1 hour while the speak talk was going on.
Oh, yeah, right.
And ever since then, I've still been getting emails.
I got it.
Okay, good. We filled the time
this
perfectly.
Yeah. I actually found a couple pages of it.
Can we do a reading sometime? At some point during the Zoom call, we could do a reading of it in different voices, like a radio play. Okay, hit us.
Like the first couple pages. Okay, so my most recent one was when the devil teaches a new perspective on life that goes against all morals taught in school, a young religious scholar's childhood is cut short. I'll say it one more time. When the devil teaches a new perspective on life that goes against morals taught in school, a young religious scholar's childhood is cut short.
Huh.
I like it. Do you like, so I think I really respect folks who do games and something else, which I think for indies, it's most of us, but how do you bring that into your work? How will you bring that into your work, or will you?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a super good question. And I like that's like one thing that like I aside from programming, like is super important to me to be able to like, get my screenplays and my movies into my work. And I think it's just me like practicing a lot, making cinematic content in game engines. And also, I think I've learned a little bit more of how the difference in like a story for a video game and a story that's for a movie. And how like a bunch of people like critique my screenplays and how like, you can tell like this is like more for a game and more for a movie, just on like how like your main character grows and evolves. There's like a bunch of research on it. It's so very different. And I think through practicing that really, like, because I definitely made some games where I'm like, this is better for a movie and not a game. And I think it's just kind of the autonomy and how your story goes. So really, it's just a matter of practice. I think it's practice. I think anyone can do it. You see a lot, like games get more cinematic and cinematic. I think it's just practice. Having a
So,
good
so
team around
as
you.
you're tackling combining cinema, games, this emotional storytelling, getting a degree, and doing projects for influencers, all by yourself, how maybe could Boston Indies help you? Right. So my question here being, you're one of the younger members of the community. You're more local than you're more of a local Boston indie than I would say even a lot of Boston indies are, just if you were looking at geography, which isn't the most important thing. But um, uh, I want to make sure that you have a voice in shaping what the community is. And like, do you have any thoughts about like what would be a healthy and helpful game community in Boston for you to be a part of?
Well, for me to say that would imply that I think that there's something wrong with it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se. I just kind of think like I think it's I look at myself more than the scene. Because starting when I was like really, really young, I think reasonably so in my like 15-year-old head that I just like didn't really know all the things that go into game development. And as such, I just assumed that everyone knew like a Herculean amount of games that I didn't know, which caused me to just be like, you know what, like I'll start talking to people when I'm good enough, when I'm good enough. Like I thought of it like that. And I think because of that, by the time I was doing stuff I didn't even know what good enough meant. That was so stupid. But by the time I was doing stuff that was good enough, I was already just like, you know what, like I've been doing it by myself for a long time. I can just keep doing it that way, which is there's pluses and minuses to everything. And I think there's definitely like a minus in thinking that way. But I think as I'm here now speaking to you, I think it's like a testament that there's nothing wrong. Like I think the community is so perfect because as soon as I felt like, you know what, like let me just, hit up Graham and say, can I do a Boston Unity group or like let me do a Boston Indies. Like, there was not like my 15-year-old mind back then was like, I don't know what they're gonna say, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's apparent that like everyone's like, dude, like, yeah, just come, who cares? So I think it's a great community.
I think we can now rest on our laurels, and like I think we could actually go down a notch or two and just be a little more hostile to all our friends.
Yeah, let's just that's good to hear. Let's just make more fun of people until we need to take corrective action. No, I think I'm glad to hear that it feels recruiting so far, but I also I think there are a lot of people in the community who share a lot of your passions, interests. I know I get a lot, even if there's a lot of indirect stuff. Even if I'm still like it's like my idea and I throw it out there and it hits the community and bounces back to me, it always comes back at a slightly different angle that I appreciate. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you're here. And just to roughly wrap it up, how can people connect with you in the future? Follow what you're doing, Twitter or something you want to throw out?
Oh, yeah. I typically, like when I am developing stuff, I like stream on Twitter or I like post screenshots on Twitter. So you can follow me at Real Cosmic. That's REAL Real COSMIK. So Real Cosmic, except not a C, it's a K.
Nice. Yeah, because I think you're doing amazing stuff, and I think I speak for everybody when I say we want to know what the heck you're doing because it's cool.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. Like, sincerely, guys.
Oh. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I think
you.
that's just about it for the day. Please do remember, this is just the opening to happy hour. We're going to throw this Zoom call open to everybody in the Slack.
So Chris is going to post the link. He is going to what? He's going to make a cocktail, but only for himself this time. So I guess farewell and until next week.
Next
Farewell,
week or in a
people.
few minutes. Back to you, Chris.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this week for Bit Show. We'll be back next week with another great show with a guest that I have not determined yet. I'll post a link to the Zoom chat in the Slack in just a minute. And, yeah, thanks for joining us, and see you next week. Oh, wait, I got to play the outro. What am I doing?
Let's go!